leadership, members, and guests. I'm humbled by this invitation and opportunity. As some of you might remember or know, I am no stranger to the BPM. I worked alongside of all of your founding members in and after 1991. Some of you weren't even born then. That's a shame. When the organization was being birthed, developed, and nurtured into the life-changing community resource and often rescue that it has become. My former boss, the late great Congressman Elijah Cummings, was a committed supporter and very proud of the work of the collective organization, resulting in the achievements of so many amazing young men. And clearly, the work continues. So, as Leroy said tonight, I have been asked to speak on the topic of the importance of voting. So, that's what I'll do. Early voting begins on October 26th. The locations can all be found at your local Board of Elections. Just Google the Maryland State Board of Elections and you will be able to find where all the locations are in each one of the 23 counties and Baltimore City for the early voting. Um, Let me apologize in advance for the toes I step on, the nerves I pluck, and the ideas I challenge, if that happens to be the case. My only intention is to get you to consider some things that you may not have thought of. We all know someone who constantly complains about the political process, yet they do not vote. That has been one of my biggest pet peeves for as long as I can remember. But instead of continuing to complain about people not exercising their right to vote, I've decided to take a more instructional approach. It occurred to me that complaining was just not going to educate, motivate, inspire, or encourage anyone to vote. Generally, people do not engage with things that they do not understand. And certainly, these remarks are not directed at any one member of the BPM unless the shoe fits. Given that, I would like to offer this information that I believe will provide an opportunity to increase and or confirm understanding. Perhaps people do not vote because they do not know anything about the offices or levels of government that the candidates are running for. Thus, they cannot select the best candidate to fill the office. Now that makes sense, doesn't it? Again, my intention here is simply to clear up some of the misunderstanding and confusion about these offices periodically up for grab. Given my career experience in the federal government for 24 plus years and the state government for 5 years, I may have a little different perspective than you, so I offer the following information as food for thought. Again, as a result of my previous experience, I believe that the most important elections for any citizen are the state and local government elections. The federal elections are, in my limited opinion, often short-sighted. And what I mean by that is, no matter who is elected as the president or vice president, it is the makeup of the Congress that will critically impact the effectiveness of the president and their ability to get things done legislatively. And of course, the legislation is supposed to be driven by the will and needs of the people. This is why my forever president had an uphill battle for both of his terms, and why 45 has been allowed to operate in such an unpresidential manner. While electing the president is important, that does not impact you directly or immediately the way the local elections do. The state level election is the election that determines the governor, lieutenant governor, state's attorney general, comptroller, treasurer, board of public works, state Supreme Court judges, Court of Appeals, Court of Special Appeals, state senators, state delegates, and there are others. The local level election is the election that determines the mayor, city council, president, city council members, county executives, county council, sheriff, school board, clerk of the court, register of wills, and others. The judges of the circuit court are also elected by the people, while the judges of the district court are appointed by the governor after being vetted by other lawyers. There may be, again, other elected offices that I've forgotten to mention here, and that's why it's critical that you do a little research and look up the information for yourself. Now, these elections also have state and local ballot measures, and that these measures must be decided by the electoral process. These issues can include things like voting on the state budget, what projects get funded with state and local taxpayer money, how schools are funded and what the funding is supposed to be used for specifically, air quality issues, infrastructure project funding like road and bridge repairs and repairs to the water mains under the street that we all know can swallow up cars and make sidewalks disappear, and other project issues and items that affect us on a daily basis. The removal of the toll booths on the Bay Bridge, which forced us all to get an easy pass, another way from Maryland to make money, or receive your toll ticket in the mail, for a bridge that's paid for itself 10 times over and counting, is another one of those issues. There are currently 11 local ballot measures on the Baltimore City ticket for the 2020 election, to include a $12 million bond issue for or against funding an affordable housing program in Baltimore City, a $38 million bond issue for or against funding school construction and improvements in Baltimore City, a $38 million bond issue for or against funding a community, commercial, and industrial economic development program in Baltimore City, and a $72 million bond issue for or against funding for public buildings, structures, and facilities. Now, just these bond issues alone for Baltimore City are worth $160 million. And there are 7 other ballot measures that speak to who will have the power and authority to increase or decrease the figures I just shared with you regarding these projects. But it should also be mentioned that if you do vote for the funding of these ballot measures, you also most assuredly can expect a tax or fee increase at some point. The funds have to come from somewhere. In the interest of time, I won't mention the rest of the ballot measures on the ticket for the other county ballots, but you should learn about them before having to make a choice, because there are ballot measures for each one of the voting areas, all the counties. They all have different ballot measures that they'll be asking us to make a decision on. And they're all available to us at your fingertips at a couple of places. One is Ballotpedia, Ballotpedia, Ballotpedia. And the other, of course, is the Maryland State Board of Elections. Now, from fielding calls from constituents for years, it's clear that many citizens are not aware that different levels of government are responsible for different services. We often receive calls in our federal office from people asking for assistance with city issues. So to be clear, the federal government is responsible for creating laws that support and protect the citizens nationally, and taking care of interstates like 95 and the other over 164,000 miles of highway in the national highway system, which is just a small part of the 4 million miles of public roads in the US and other federally funded projects like the Social Security Fund, Medicare health benefits, and others. They also provide constituent services to help residents with issues that they're having with federal government agencies like the Social Security Administration, Housing and Urban Development, Internal Revenue Service, the Veterans Administration, the Department of Justice, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, and many other federal agencies. They also provide the required recommendations for things like the military service academies, which are exclusive in nature and provide world-class educations and networks. They also offer a variety of grant opportunities to fund community projects and nonprofit organizations that provide services to the public. That's you. These federal elected offices are the president, vice president, US senators, and US congressmen. They secure money from the federal government and direct it to the state where the funds are allocated for operating expenses, infrastructure projects, and constituent services. Now, I should say here, if they don't agree with or support the issues that are important to you, then they should not be representing you in office. That's why it's really important for you to go dig up this information to see, do they think like you think? Are the things that are important to you important to them? Because if there's a misalignment, you can't put them in office, because if you do, you're not going to get anything you need or anything you want, because it's not going to be about you. So you got to go look. The state government is responsible for taking care of state roads like MD2, which is part of Governor Ritchie Highway, or MD3, which is Crane Highway, et cetera. And there are many, many, many others. The Maryland Department of Transportation is responsible for maintaining 17,824 miles of the state's highways and toll roads, most of which were formed in 1927 and have been maintained or expanded ever since. The cost to repair tunnels and bridges, fill potholes, resurface roads, and treat the roads in inclement weather is quite costly. Additionally, it's the state's responsibility to provide constituent services to help residents with issues that they are having with state government agencies, like the Maryland Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation, which handles all the business registrations and manages the unemployment insurance benefits, or the MVA, state IDs, driver's licenses, vehicle registrations, and insurance violations. And side note, if you have not gotten your Maryland Real ID, time's running out. You need to do that, or you're going to find yourself at the airport with no way to get on a plane. There's also the Maryland Department of Social Services that handles public assistance benefits, child care vouchers, and food stamps for low-income Marylanders and those suffering from economic hardships. Then there's the Department of Vital Records, Maryland State Insurance Commission, the Maryland Automobile Insurance Fund, which actually manages the uninsured motorist protection, Maryland State Police, Maryland Higher Education Commission, and Maryland State Board of Elections, and many other state agencies. These state offices are the responsibility of the governor, lieutenant governor, president of the state senate, state senators, speaker of the House, and state delegates. They're responsible for creating laws that support and protect the citizens of the state and making sure that the taxpayer dollars we get from the federal government and the state taxpayer dollars that are collected through taxing the local citizens is used for the greater good of the residents of the state. And again, if they don't agree with or support the issues that are important to you, get rid of them. Very simple. The city is responsible for repairing the streets in Baltimore City, which is a never-ending task. It is also the responsibility of the city government to pick up the trash and clean the streets. They're responsible for creating laws and ordinances that support and protect the city residents and for fixing water main breaks in the city and other infrastructure issues when they arise. They're responsible for ensuring the safety of the citizens, which even to this day has been an embarrassing failure through the last several administrations. They are responsible for the proper and accurate billing of water in the city limits, which has also been a nagging problem for many years. They also collect your city fees and penalties like parking fines, towing fees, and stormwater fees, among others. And then there is the Baltimore City District and Circuit Courts that determine the fate of our family members. The judges on the circuit court, again, are elected by the people. The judges on the district court are appointed by the governor after being vetted by their professional peers. They often hold the futures of our family members in their hands, and some do right and some do not. But we put them there, often not knowing their records, largely because we never look to find out. Well, I'll tell you a little secret. It's really easy. Just Google them like we do everything else. And here's another little footnote. I'm sure that it is not widely known that since 45 has been in office since 2016, he is responsible for having appointed 198 appellate court judges to the bench throughout this country. 198 appellate court judges. Not one of them was a person of color. No Latino, no Asian, and certainly no Black. That matters because these appointments will have generational consequences on the futures of many families, and there's nothing we can do to change it. So once again, we're putting people in office, but if they don't agree with or support the issues that are important to us, we cannot put them there because they make other decisions that impact us that we don't have any input in. And there's nothing that we can do because we sent them as our representative and now they take our power and use it for their good. That's not right. So if they don't support the issues, again, that are important to you, they can't go to represent you. There are 23 counties in Baltimore City in the state of Maryland. Each county is responsible for taking care of and repairing the county roads that exist within their boundaries. And according to their charters, each county determines what the specific services are that they will provide. Now, they can help with figuring out property issues, water bills, parking fines, county ordinances, health and human service issues, school and school board issues, transportation problems on county roads, trash collection, pest control, noise complaints, and others. But again, like all the others, if they don't agree with or support the issues that are important to you, they should not be representing you in office. So let's move forward. During this pandemic, this pandemic that has wrecked the lives of millions of people, many legislative actions have been taken that we don't even know about. Just look at the way doing business has changed with social distancing and attendance limits of customers and such. You don't think the government on every level has adopted some similar measures? You can't even get an appointment at MVA less than a month out. Think about the drastic difference this pandemic has made on the way we vote, or if we vote at all. Honestly, okay, let me be real here. You can't blame the pandemic for the lack of participation in the voting process, especially for Black people. Okay, this is real deal talk. We weren't voting by the millions before there was a pandemic, so you can't blame the pandemic. So, for instance, in the 2016 election, before there was a pandemic, 45 won Wisconsin by 23,000 votes. But in Milwaukee alone, 93,000 Black registered voters did not vote. 45 won Florida by 113,000 votes. But in Miami alone, 379,000 Black registered voters did not vote. 45 won Michigan by 11,000 votes. But in Detroit alone, 277,000 Black registered voters did not vote. 45 won Pennsylvania by 44,000 votes. But in Philadelphia alone, 238,000 Black registered voters did not vote. Lastly, 45 won Georgia by 211,000 votes. But in Atlanta alone, 530,000 Black registered voters did not vote. This is only 5 states and 1 city in each of the states. And the total number of Black registered voters who did not vote in just these 5 cities is 1,514,003. 1,514,003. That has to change. That has to change. We have no excuse. We have no excuse. We have to do a better job of keeping our money in our community and putting people in office that will take care of us the way other groups do. It's not up to anyone else. It never has been. It never will be. Our right to vote is being actively challenged routinely. Just look at Pennsylvania and the recent state legislation just passed to make it legal to toss out, throw away without counting any ballot that is received and is not in the privacy envelope that was supposed to be provided with the mail-in ballots. Forget that maybe it wasn't. This is the first time that the so-called naked ballots have ever been challenged, and they were always included in the count previous to this challenge. Please see this for the blatant attempt to influence the election's outcome that it really is. It should also be noted that in Pennsylvania currently, the Dems have a comfortable lead over the Republicans. So these ballots not being in a privacy envelope just makes it easy and legal for the party that's behind to target and destroy votes that do not serve them. This is why it's so critical for us to read the instructions and follow them to the letter when participating in the mail-in or drop-off process for voting. We have to participate in the process. We have to follow the instructions, and we have to follow up to ensure receipt and counting of our votes. Your local Board of Elections is responsible for providing this information. So hold their feet to the fire and make them do their jobs too. So this is not rocket science, fellas. It's really not. And we have been fighting a good fight for a long time. But I'm tired of Democrats being Democrats while convenient. I don't, they shouldn't put D as a Democrat on their voter registration. They should put DWC, Democratic when convenient, because that's what some of these people are doing. And we put them in office because we don't take the time to learn what we need to learn about them to know whether they're a good choice or not. You got to do your homework. As I close, I urge you to stand up, step up, and learn something new. Please exercise your right to control your own destiny by participating in the process that will allow you to do just that. It's now or never. We must overcome the systematic process that has and continues to defeat our spirits. They have been after us for a long time, and they have been beating us down for a long time. But we must rise up. And we do that by voting. We must vote. So at this time, I'll take some questions. Although I may not have or know the answer, I will probably have an opinion. And gentlemen, again, it was my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Fred. So if we're going to open up, if anyone has any questions, please, you can unmute yourself, and then you can ask Miss Fran questions, and then we can have her kind of go with it and move forward with how important voting is to this, to not just our city, but to the state in general, and voting all over. Because as you heard, those numbers she gave in those other states, even if you get what, a third of those votes that she talked about not voting, that the whole election of 2016 turns out different.
Yes.
I have a question. I put sort of like the question and you answered it earlier, but I want you just digging into a little bit more. My question was, where do we find local candidates positions on issues and topics? And you got around to a Google, but can you dig a little bit deeper in the Google cycle of how do you and what do you look for?
Okay. So every candidate that is running for office ought to have a website.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of those candidates on their individual websites is supposed to list what their platform is and what their issues are, what they believe is important, what they're running on, what they're going to do for the electorate. It's supposed to be there. Now, there have been some candidates' websites that I've gone to, and it has been lean with information. And so I call the phone number and I ask the questions. And if they treat me right and they answer the questions because they really want me to know, that's a good thing. But if they hem and haw and they won't answer the questions and they're rude and not helpful, then they get scratched off my list, and I won't vote for them. Because if they won't answer my question while I'm on the phone before they get in the office, I'm not taking a chance that they're going to answer the phone when I call after they get in the office.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would do. I would go to each one of these candidates. This is why you can't wait till the week before the election to start doing this digging. We've had, since the primary, we knew pretty much who was going to be on that ballot, who won the primary. That's when you start doing this digging. Before the primary, it's too many people. It's too many people. Everybody, the cat, the dog, and the
Mm-hmm.
canary is running for the office. After they win the primary, that's who you know is going to get on that general ballot. That's when you start narrowing down who does what, who's going to do what, who intends to do what, who has the resources to pull it off, who's got the support to pull it off, and dig past that. Find out who their backers are. Find out who their backers are, because what you'll discover is that some of these candidates are backed by other candidates who have run before them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they get in the office and they don't have the experience that they really need to do the job, they're going to go back to those people that had the job before they had the job that are supporting them. And those are the people that are going to be pulling the strings and making the decisions. And the one we voted for is just going to be a puppet. He's going to be the face of the office, but he won't be making the decisions. That's why it's important to find out who supports these people. Is it old guard, or is it really um, a new movement? Is it really young people coming together, really trying to make a difference, really trying to clean some stuff up, really trying to, because if they're not, then you're just going to get more of the same. It's just going to come in a different package, but you're just going to get more of the same.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have more, but I'm gonna let someone else jump in and ask a question, and I'll come back a little bit later.
Yeah, now I have a question for you, friend. How important is it for Black men to show up voting, especially in this cycle? What kind of factor does that play in these type of in this election?
Well, first of all, it it shows the world that the brothers are not missing in action, because you've been painted, that picture has been painted wrongly, incorrectly, untrue. It's not true. You are there. There are more black men in college than there are in jail. There are. But we don't talk about that. And those other people, they talk about the flip side. Well, there's more black men in jail than there are in college. Nobody questions it. Nobody challenges it. Nobody
Mm.
says, oh, yeah, prove it. Nobody says that. But we should. We should be telling them, really? Where did you get that information from? Call them out on it. So the way you call them out is to be visible. Vote, vote, and put people in office that look like us. Black men who have the education, jumped through all the hoops to get all the qualifications, who are often 10 times more qualified than their mainstream counterparts. Let me just put it like that. But we're not given the chance. We're not given the chance because we don't have the finance that supports us in our effort to achieve some of these goals. So sometimes we just have to come together and create those pockets of resources for ourselves, because we can't really depend on other folks that don't look like us to come to our rescue. And we shouldn't be doing that anyway. We are too smart. We are too capable. We are too brilliant as a collective body to be waiting on somebody else to do anything else for us. We have what we need. We just won't come together as a unified force to make it happen. But we can. We can.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What information do you think would inspire people to get more engaged?
Hassan, this is something that this is actually a conversation that I had with a congressman lots of years ago, but this brings this conversation to my mind. And one day I asked him, when you get ready to retire, and this was probably like back in 2012, 2013, and he was not thinking about retiring. So he was looking at me like I grew two heads and was talking craziness. But I told him, everything comes to an end. Nothing lasts forever. So when you retire, who are you grooming to sit in your seat? And he kind of looked at me, because maybe he was so busy fighting a fight that he hadn't really thought about what it looked like when he wasn't fighting a fight anymore, because he was still fighting a fight. So the answer to your question is, we have to groom. We have to take the time, identify some really bright, brilliant talent, and then begin to groom them for the things that we need them to become leaders in. We need to
So
groom them.
I had an interesting meeting yesterday, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
had an interesting conversation, from that meeting. And one of the things I was sharing with the person was there's an example through actions. And even though you may think your actions are correct or appropriate, looking at the long term, they may be inappropriate. And I feel like one of the main things that is missed is everybody talks about how does an election impact your day to day, right? But I feel like that's the wrong angle. It's what laws that are in place that impact your day to day that you need adjusted to benefit you. And other communities look at it from that standpoint. And so, from our standpoint, we use the whole proverbial we're survivors, and we can make it through anything, and we can just put up with whatever. But you know, if we was to look at it from that standpoint of what laws could we do, what laws could we put in place that can impact our community? In fact, the proverbial our community is to me is part of the obstacle, because what is done by design is to have concentrated areas of low income people, which is categorized as most like people who look like us, and it makes it look normal.
Yep.
But if we was to go to those, and I'm on a soapbox now, I apologize, but if we was to go to those communities and say, you should leave this area, a lot of them would say, I don't want to leave my home. This is the only home I know, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like that is the issue, is everybody doesn't understand what laws impact them and what laws that need to be changed that can change their lives. So that's the thought of it.
So this is what I would say to you. The Black professional men already has a model in place to change the thinking. You have to change the mindset. And you change the mindset by giving these kids exposure, because they can't imagine the things that don't exist for them. If Okay, so many, many, many years ago, before my political life even started, uh, I used to work at Hopkins in the School of Nursing, and I was the assistant to the dean. And every day I would go down into the courtyard to have my lunch, and there was this lady that worked in housekeeping, and she would be down there. Her name was Queenie, and I would see Queenie every day at lunchtime, the same time. It was like you could set your watch by her. And I would ask her, Queenie, what you gonna do on vacation this year? And she said, girl, clean up my house. I'm like, what? I said, no, 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 no. What you gonna do on vacation? When you get your time off and you can travel. And she's like, travel? Girl, I don't travel. You know, I can't go around with other people and, them strange places, and you gotta eat food you ain't used to. And I mean, she was just caught up in this little 3 block by 3 block by 3 block existence that she had. She didn't have a car. She walked to work. She walked home. She walked to the market. She walked home. Um, and where she couldn't walk to, she just didn't go. And, I spent 8 years in the Marine Corps. I've been all over the world. I've been to a whole bunch of places. And I just could not fathom not being able to travel the same way Queenie could not fathom leaving her block. So you have to change the mindset. And you can't wait until folks are 20, 25, 35 years old to try to give them a different perspective about what's possible. You got to catch them in middle school and when they're beginning high school, and expose them. You can't just say, it'd be great to go down to DC to a museum. You had to take them down to DC to the museum and say, see, never thought you'd be here, because now they think, gosh, I never did think I would be here. So now it's some other places that they are possible now, because maybe they never thought they'd go, but they went somewhere else that they didn't think they could go. So maybe they can go. And it changes their perspective, it changes their mindset. And that's what we got to do. Because you're right, all those people in all those impoverished areas, and I can tell you from many, many years of working in the congressman's office, and people will call and they would have these terrible issues with pest control and all this stuff. And you ask them, well, you're doing pretty well. Why do you stay in the area? And they're like, well, where else am I going to go? And that was the answer. Their mindset was such that they couldn't fathom that they could exist anywhere else, which just blows my brain, because I go where I want to go. Yeah, the world is my playground. That's how I feel about it. And as long as I got $2 to get there and get back, I'm good and I'm gone. But I am not the rule. I'm truly the exception. But the BPM, you guys are creating exceptions with every young man that you mentor, every young man that you sit and you talk to, every young man that you listen to, every young man that you take to a football game, every young man you take to a basketball game, every young man you take to a restaurant that actually has some linen on the table and some flatware as opposed to some plastic forks and spoons, because they've not been exposed and they've never seen it and they've never thought about those things as it relates to them. You have to make that part of their world by exposing them to it. And the more you expose them to, the more you can flip the script on this where I can't go and what I can't do, to where can't I go and what can I do, because I can do it all. But it
Yeah,
starts with exactly what you guys are doing.
yeah, my friend, let me ask you: is that? And let's bring. I want to bring that locally, like you just talked about. Now, is that what we see? Because I know I kind of see it when I drive around Baltimore City. Is that very thing that you talked about, where people can't see themselves beyond that box, like you said, that 4 block radius that they're in,
Hmm.
and they don't want to move out of that comfort zone? Is the reason why we continue to see the cycle of the same council people that have been in positions for years here, and why none of that seems to change because of that mindset that people have, that we're talking about.
Honestly, I think that part of it is because we're lazy. I don't mean black people are lazy. I mean, people are lazy. They don't want to go digging up information. They would rather listen to what somebody else tells them, whether it's true or not, and take that as the gospel, than to go dig up the information and find out on their own for themselves whether or not this person is a good person for them. So that's part of it. We won't go get the information. But secondly, um, these politicians have been entrenched for decades, and they have their financial resources on lock. And so the new guy with the great ideas, all the energy, and the real intention to bring change gets snuffed out, because he can't break into those resources where the money is going to sustain his effort. And we our mindset in terms of what we think is possible has been smashed and beaten down for so long. The first thing people will say, well, yeah, they look good, but they're going to be just like the one that's already in there. So what's the point? Well, how do you know that? How do you know that if you don't go digging? How do you know that if you don't really expose yourself to the reality of who or what this person is? How can you make that unilateral decision based on what other people are telling you, and you don't know if they're telling you the truth or not? So you really have to go digging up the information for yourself. You have to do that. You have to do that. You have to, because it's going to stay just like it is, because people believe what they believe, wrong or right. They believe what they believe. And until you can change what they believe, they're going to keep doing the same things they've been doing. And we're going to keep getting the
Absolutely.
same things we've been getting.
Do we have time for another question, Brother Leroy?
Yeah, one more, and then we're gonna have Brother Terrence, because y'all know we shifted around the agendas to Brother Terrence for the business spotlight, and then we're gonna move to Brother David Murphy, who is here for the community partner spotlight. Okay.
Okay. My last question is, I'm glad you mentioned about the bond issue, because I was looking at those bonds issue when you're running down those millions and millions of dollars in those specific bond issues. Now, my question is, why don't they talk about these bond issues when they're like the largest amount of monies they're trying to get approved? When that is so significant, but they just, I only see them because I looked them up myself, and they only see them when they go to the voting poll, normally.
Sometimes people don't want you to know what you need to know. Because if you really discover what you need to know, then you're not going to follow the herd. They expect you to follow the herd out of ignorance. And most people follow the herd out of ignorance because they don't dig up the information. They don't look to see what these ballot measures really are about. They see, fund school construction. Yeah, do that. But you know what the problem with that is? The problem with that is the general contractors that are making all the money are going to make some more money, and there's no way for you to really track that money to see how much of it ends up with a subcontractor that might be a minority subcontractor. And even if it is a minority subcontractor, guess who they let become part of the minority, who's really not a minority? They're white women. And so they say they gave the money to a minority. Yeah, they did. But the minority is married to the general contractor's brother. So where does the money really go? It doesn't go in our community. It doesn't go to the people that look like us, but it goes to a minority. See,
See, you know
so
what though? Like
yes,
we had a meeting earlier. I want to say it was earlier this week, maybe. But it's a city project that is looking to have black businesses there, but black businesses are not applying. So if black businesses don't apply, they have 100% chance of not being involved.
mm-hmm.
But everybody will look at it and say, "Hey, we need to get more black businesses involved."
Well, black businesses
And
sometimes don't apply because they haven't jumped through all the hoops that have been put up for them to be certified. It's one thing to say I want a black business to apply for X. But then when you get over there and apply, what you discover is you got to have an 8A certification. You got to have a small business minority something certification. You got to have all these certifications which require you to have bond money and put up bonds and get insurance and all this stuff.
man,
And
I get all that, but the reality is, if you apply and you don't get it, you get to know why, and then you get a
yes,
roadmap.
yes, that's
Well,
true.
Hassan, that's not necessarily true. If you're not able to know the knowledge first or get into the door to apply, then how do you know what you're missing if you're not able to get in the door? That's the majority of the minorities that I come across for the state in my process of trying to get certified and bonded for the state so I can apply for different contracts like you're speaking of. So I understand what she's relating to and what she's talking about. Because either you don't know the knowledge or nobody's telling you what to do.
But
Right.
And
when
that goes to what I think what she was
but
saying too about exposure. Because if
but
you aren't
still,
exposed
if you
to
apply,
that information,
yeah, but if you apply, you still get feedback.
Well, that's
How could
true.
you
But how
apply
many
if you
of us,
don't know?
yeah, but how many of us are afraid of what we're going to hear? And so we don't go because we let the fear get in front of us instead of putting the fear behind us and using it to fuel our efforts.
That
Man,
statement you
And
made, Miss Fran, is exactly what's going on with
I ain't
me.
going around
I
there
think
and
that's
let
a
people tell me I ain't good enough, man.
and it,
I ain't going through them changes. Well, you know
and
what?
isn't that part of the deterrent too?
Yes,
To
yes,
get you frustrated like that because it
yes,
deters you from, like you were saying, Hassan, it deters you from applying because you know you're going to have to go through all of those hoops and everything in order to be able to qualify.
yes. But let me tell
I'm
you
just,
something.
I'm
Those
just, I'm
people
just
that,
saying, like, I get it, I get it, I understand, but it just sounds like my mama giving my brother all these explanations because he can't get right. Like he can't get right because he don't put effort. Like he just
yep,
can't get right. Like no matter how many excuses you give for him, he can't get right.
right, right. I understand that. But let me just say this. All those people that don't look like us had to start someplace. They had to start someplace. Not all of them had money out the yang thrown at everything. Some of them had to climb up the ladder from the first rung to the top, just like we have. The difference is that they will go, and if they find something that gets in their way, they will not stop until they figure out how to get past it so they can get to the next level. We will get to something that stands in our way, and we let the fear of what we might have to do to overcome this obstacle keep us from trying to overcome the obstacle. At some point, you just have to care enough to not let the fear get in your way. And if you don't care enough to not let the fear get in your way, then you're not going to achieve stuff because fear is always going to be the thing that stops you. So, and there is not a day that comes that I'm not scared of something at some point during the day. But I have two things that I always step back, take a deep breath, and rely on. The first of which is my faith. I really believe that what God has for me is for me, and that I will not allow somebody to stand in the way of me getting the thing that God has for me because they don't have the power and authority to do that. Period. That's the first thing. And the second thing is if I don't do the work, then I don't deserve it. So let me do the work because it's about me getting the stuff that I want, not about somebody else.
The one thing, and I know we have to move on, but the one thing that I really like about Eric Thompson is that he says he doesn't have to be the best, he doesn't have to be the smartest. He just has to start before you.
Mhm.
And a lot of us are not willing to start before
That is
everybody
right.
else.
That's right. Some of us just aren't willing to start at all.
Yeah.
It doesn't
So
Right.
matter if it's before somebody else. We
it's
just
it
won't
still it
start.
still comes down to
Yes.
um, if you can't get right, you can't get right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that is true.
Absolutely.
Well, Leroy, I have one last request and then I'm done. I think I would be irresponsible if I didn't end with a plea for all of you to take good care of yourselves. You know, we're still in this craziness and this pandemic nonsense. So that said, I just want to remind everybody to please remember to mask up, keep your distance, a minimum of 6 feet apart from other people, and don't be ignorant like me. If they get too close, don't cough or sneeze at them because you know that could start something. um, I do that, but I'm a woman and they're not, well, maybe they won't hit me. I don't know. These days they might try. Use your sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, and all that stuff. Wipe everything down. If you think you didn't do it again. And please wash your hands before you start touching stuff when you get home. That includes your kids or your woman or your man or whatever, whatever. Okay, just wipe it down. And you got to be safe. You got to be safe to stay safe. So be safe so we can see you again. You guys, thank you again for this great opportunity. I miss you guys. Do well. Keep hanging in the community with the kids because they need you. They need you. They need you. And I'm very proud of all of your efforts and that the work is continuing. So thanks again and good night.
Right?
Thank you, Miss Fran. Thank you
Miss
so much,
Fran,
so
before you
much.
go, can you
Yes.
give your contact information for people
Oh,
to contact you,
yes,
please?
yes, yes, yes. So the best way to contact me, I'll give you two ways. My phone number is 443-602-6194. 443-602-6194. Yes. And my website is www.selfdevelopmentsuccess.com. That's selfdevelopmentsuccess.com. And there's a video that I just put up under the Meet Fran Allen tab that you might find interesting. And there is a contact tab too if you need to reach me, um, and you have a project or you'd like me to do a book signing or speak or whatever, you can send the information through the contact on my website or you can text me on my phone. Um, thank you so much. I
Absolutely.
appreciate you guys. Keep doing the work.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fran. And Hassan, just to kind of piggyback,
Thank you, man.
maybe something that BPM can do in regards to what you were saying and knowing what businesses need to do in order to qualify. Maybe we have someone that we can, that we can connect with, or maybe we have one of our business partners that is able to kind of know what businesses need to do in order to be able to get through that red tape. Maybe that's something that we can consider doing too. That we can kind of put on the agenda for for Black professional men this upcoming year and everything like that. Since in order to get them engaged, we gotta teach them teach them the game, and everything like that. Because if they are exposed to the information, then maybe that will ease some of that tension, that retention, or that the apprehension that they may have in order to be able to be able to go through the process, and getting them through the process.
Absolutely. Okay.
So thank you again, Miss Fran. So we want to jump right into the turns. You can come on really quickly. You can unmute yourself. Just take like 5 minutes to do to introduce your business, talk about your business, the products and services you offer, and then we're going to jump to Brother David Murphy, who is on here, who has graced us from the National Black Unity News newspaper, and he's going to talk about the community and the importance of the media the media and the part that they play in voting and getting people out to vote, and the information that you can access through the newspaper, as well as the informing the community. So, are you available, Terrence, real quickly?
I'm right here. I was just waiting for you to finish talking. That's all, brother.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Well, first off, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to put my business out here. Been an entrepreneur unofficially for several years, but officially started my Axiom Integrated Services LLC in March. As the COVID was starting, I realized that it was going to become a situation, an opportunity for me, for one, change the way that people interact utilizing IT services. Two, with the COVID coming through, it was going to be a situation where life was going to change for a lot of people. So I want to utilize the opportunity. And basically, what Axiom Integrated Services is about is it's an LLC helping businesses utilize technology to increase their profitability. It's a consulting firm that was created to provide preeminent and choice IT, media streaming, marketing services to the masses. I have experience for over 26 plus years of desktop support, end user support, migration projects, hardware refurbishment and upgrades, patchware management, amongst other niches in the IT field. We evaluate businesses, recommend tools, and implement solutions for the customer to achieve their goals. So, that being said, I was one of the original architects of the Clark Lane University satellite computer hubs for the Living Learning Center. I was one of 5 senior technicians back then that set up, initiated, and installed the hubs so they could interact and talk to each other. That's prehistoric because there wasn't no wireless access points at that time. Everything came from the DMARC or the T1 lines. Over the years, I've contracted in several Fortune 500 IT um, companies such as Capital One, worked an implement project there. I also worked for Lariat, Unisys, Systems. I contracted for them for several years. Tech Systems was one of their main lead architects and technicians that they sent out on most of their migration jobs that they had set up for me. And eventually I got hired on with the University of Maryland School of Nursing. They created a position for me to do technical support, IV support, which I'm currently doing now. It's just that we're not reporting to campus on COVID. And like I said, basically what I'm doing now is taking the skills that I've accumulated over the past 26 plus years and starting to implement them with my own business. I'm still a work in progress. There's still some fine tuning that I need to do, but I think I've been learning through the bumps and edges, and also becoming a part of a member, becoming a prominent member of BPM. I learned skill sets and opportunities were given to me that I don't think I would have been able to benefit off of not being part of BPM. So I'm very thankful for that, and just looking to progress through the year and become stronger in what I do and how I do it. So, any questions, any comments? Please feel free. You can speak now.
What's your ideal customer?
My ideal customer would be a small business generating somewhere between $7,000 to $10,000 on a monthly basis. I know that's probably a stretch as far as customership, but considering the services I offer and the price that I call for my business, that's the ideal customer because they will be able to afford what I offer. I'm also willing to work with
What
other
problem do
customers.
you solve for that kind of customer?
Basically, what I do is I evaluate what the business does and how I can apply my technological advisement to make them profitable as a business.
To increase their profitability.
Yeah, increase their profitability.
So if a company is making $7,000 to $10,000 a month with your services, it moves them up to a $25,000 business a month.
Definitely.
That's why they come to you.
Right.
And you allow them the ability to do that by using technology to do more with less.
Correct.
That's why they come to you.
Yes, Grasshopper. That is definitely why they come to me.
And can you give your
That's
contact
cool.
information, my brother Terrence?
Yeah, really
Yes.
quickly.
Email is Axiom, which is AXIOM.is@outlook.com. Mobile number is 443-805-6253. In process of getting the web page up and everything. I will be posting that. And also can be reached through BPM on the web page there. So please feel free. There's also a Facebook page, Axiom Integrated Services LLC, that people could contact me. My Facebook is that Axiom Integrated Services LLC. Also on Instagram, you can reach me out, axiom.is, or on Twitter, axiom_is. Kendrick got his hand raised. Let me see.
He needs to be brought to the
Go ahead,
camera.
Kendrick.
He want to be brought to the camera. He had to come out and come in.
Oh, okay. Let me get him situated. Apologies.
And your camera's gone, Terrence. Your camera's gone off the screen. I don't know if you knew that.
As you're bringing him in, Terrence, how can somebody get started with you? I mean, I know you put your contact info out. Do they just call you and say this is what I need, or is there a free estimate, or how do they get started?
Well, currently I am offering, depending on what the situation is and what their request is, I am offering a base, I guess you say, evaluation.
So what he's doing is a technical audit of businesses. He's able to do a technical audit of your business so you can gain a firm understanding of where you can do more using your technology. I know I took the words right out your mouth.
Yeah, you did. Especially considering that you've been working with me on getting my wording and my I guess you say my fortitude up, because I'm kind of weak in that area, presenting and
No, you're not weak. It's just the area that you need to be stronger in.
Yeah. Right. So is it a fee for the technical audit? Is it a flat fee? Is it a complimentary service?
It's free only for the first 50.
Exactly.
First 50.
Abs- cool, cool, absolutely. So
First
let's
50.
let's jump.
Because after the first 50, he won't have time to give it away for free.
That's right. And as my little man telling you in the background, get it while it's hot. That's what he was yelling just now.
All
So,
right.
real
Let's
quick.
move. I want to step to our community
Hold on one
spotlight. Thanks,
second, Leroy. I
Terrence.
think Hassan wanted to say something real quick.
And if, for those that don't know, Terrence behind the scenes working everything. So he finally got got to come out front this time. So, but I want to welcome. I want to welcome this brother, and he's been connected with BPM for a little bit now. But I wanted him to come and talk about just a couple of things. One, his newspaper that he has, but then also a little bit about the how the media plays a part in voting in that aspect. And that's Brother David Murphy. So, Brother David, I'm going to bring you up. I'm going to give you the stage and let you talk for a couple of minutes just about the National Black Unity News, the community, because we know you're well vested, well connected, well entrenched in the community. And the floor is yours, sir.
All right, thank you. First of all, brothers, I appreciate you, and especially you, Fran, as well. And I've been around Black professional men since the inception of it. And I always admired. I used to attend some of the meetings way back in the day, and I was always amazed to see brothers come together for the purpose of uplifting each other and uplifting our people. So I commend you, brothers, for continuing to carry the banner, the torch, and it's still lit. And I'm proud of you for keeping it running. But the National Black Unity News is a nationwide circulated publication, and its purpose is, again, just what you're doing: uplift our people and to provide a better quality of life with positive information. And it's by us and it's for us. But getting to your original question, Mr. McKenzie, is this: media is a powerful tool. You know, those saying it can start wars or even rumors of wars. Propaganda is a powerful tool, and that go hand in hand with media because we can put narratives out there that would influence people to go this way or that way. And I heard you talking earlier about why some people don't do what they do, and why they have certain types of fears, because they are being fed about these fears, why we can't do this, why we can't do that. Not only from the media, but from our own people, your own parents. No, you can't do that. You can't do this. And so it's embedded in us. But for the most part, when it comes to the masses of people, it always takes the few. That's why the masses always going to do what they do. They're going to stay in their hubs and their little areas. It's people like yourselves who are innovators, who steps outside the box and then lead the way. And when it comes to media, I'm going to give you a prime example of how it works. Now, everybody familiar with Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson, Clarence Thomas. I can go on and on about some of the black people who are supposed to have made it successfully in this country. All of them. I don't care. Some of them are great educators, Clarence Thomas. Then you have those people who are great singers, athletes. I don't care, and they top of their game. But every last one of them has been disgraced and humanized, put down by mass media, one form or another. They start rumors. They don't have to be true. They don't have to be fact checked or anything. They can say, "They person did. I heard through a reliable source that this person did this and that person did that." And to popular opinion, because it's in the media, they tend to believe, because if they read it and they seen it on TV or and this that, it starts conversation and people begin to believe it. Now, can you imagine you was a little old white lady sitting in your secluded area and you watch this meet about the Oprahs and the Michaels and everybody else, And the first thing comes to their mind will be this. I don't care how much money you give them people, how well they can sing, how well they can play ball, ain't none of them no good. Not one of them. Look how they act. Can't give them nothing. And see, that's what forms their opinion about us. But I can't speak too much about what they do, but I can speak about what we should do. And we should need to support, I don't care what type of form of media. This is the form of media what, on this format, what we're doing right now is sharing information. And you're putting it out there through the internet. But they're going to do or continue to do what they do. It ain't going to be good for us. I'm going to tell you that point blank. But we have to come to the point in life is this, that we need to have our own narratives. We need to discuss things about us, how we can help one another. We need to start talking about the importance, educating each other about the importance of not only voting for president, but voting for your local. Y'all were talking about bonds and everything else. You know, we need to have understanding. Those of us who are in those fields, we need to start communicating. Because if we don't do it, nobody's going to come back to do it for us. Ain't nobody coming to save us. In old school, I'm old school, as you can see that. Ain't nobody going to HIPAA lane to the game. They don't want you to know. It wasn't designed for you. That's their world. We just living in it. We need to create our own world, our own media, our own. And let me say this in closing. We own, as I said before, if you take all the media together, we own less than 1% of the media. Less than 1%. I'm talking about radio, TV, newspapers, podcasting, and everything else. Lump them all together, less than 1%. So now can you imagine what the airways are sending messages to us, subliminal messages to us from them? And if we continue to allow and continue to feed into those nerves, we're going to stay in the same situation because it's designed that way to keep you this way. But if somebody would have told you who you really are, I'm not talking about going back to ancient Africa, the original man. I'm talking about right now. The power that Black people possess, not only in this country, the spending power in this country alone equates to the 9th largest country in the world. The spending power that we have, we're in every industry. We are teaching others what to do. We have everything we need, but one thing we don't do, and that's because we've been taught, we've been fed not to trust one another, not to work with one another. We are the ones, you innovators out there, whatever chosen field you happen to be in. See, it's up to you, because like I said, the masses are going to do what they do. I don't care what color you are. Only the masses, the white folks, Asians, I don't care. The masses ain't going to do but so much. It's just the few, just like yourself, who have the initiative to stand up and stand out, who's willing to break down barriers, who's willing to go on the other side of the tracks and test the waters. But and it's this. Now I can't speak for nobody else. I can't speak for no other media, but I can speak for the National Black Unity News. Is this. See, we are not kept by anybody. We are self-supporting. When you talk about unity, that's exactly what. See, we are demonstrating. We're not just talking, but we demonstrating it because the National Black Unity News does not operate like traditional businesses and traditional newspapers. We are a collaborative. We have like-minded people who have come together for the sole purpose of uplifting us as a people. We have people like the Fran Allen, who's on the call with us right now. Leroy McKenzie also working with us in the book section. We have a plethora of people that have come together, like-minded people, who have stood the test of time, who have come together, and like I said, we putting out information, positive information that's good for yesterday, today, as well as tomorrow. And so I'm going to invite you. This is an invitation because I listened to you. I'm sorry I came in a little bit late, but you know, I'm going to send this to you, especially the gentleman in the IT, because he's the only one I really heard about the business. See, there's spots in the National Black Unity News who desperately could use your services. The people need to know. You need to educate us about who you are, what you do, and why you do it, and how it can help us as a people. And that goes for all of you gentlemen. It's because you never know people sitting out there waiting on you. But if we don't share that light, if we don't share our information with one another, just get out of those little small circles, we have to do it. And when it comes back to media, voting, I don't care what avenue you choose to use it for, if you don't get your message out there, I don't care how good you are, how exclusive you are, how unique you are, nobody's going to really utilize yourself to the point that you want to use it because nobody's going to know who you are or where you are or how to get in touch with you. And again, so I just want you to extend the invitation to y'all. I'm open. And what you see is what you get. And I'm going to tell you, what you get when you come with us, you have a network of people, a network of us who looks out for one another, support one another. We just don't talk the talk, we walking it. And so, Mr. McKenzie, Black Professional Men, Fran Allen, I appreciate this time because I see the hours coming to to the end. But I appreciate, I'm open for suggestions. I can put my number out there. We can talk afterwards.
Yeah, give your contact information and let everybody know because he didn't say about that the new issue of the National Black Unity News is out right now. And then I wanted to mention too, talk about the directory, the business directory that you have as well too.
For yes,
individuals that have businesses so that they know about that too.
Yeah, we initiated a directory. As a matter of fact, that's exactly how I cut my teeth in business. I see back in the day, I started a business called Togetherness Unlimited. And what I did, when I told you about how much money we spend annually, the Urban Leagues put out this report stating that we spend so much money annually, but we're the only people in this country who does not support one another. Our dollars goes out of our hands as soon as we get it. Other people, circulate their money back in them days was 7 times, now it's up to 13, 15 times before it go out to anybody else. And so that was a problem. We had the power, we had the spending power, we had the technology, we had everything, but we didn't support. So I came up with this directory. And this directory I gave free, listen to I said I gave free advertising to Black businesses if they was willing to offer no less than a 5% discount off their products, goods, or services. And the businesses, so I had a directory. I'm a printer by trade, so I put them in a directory. They offered the discount, so they got free advertising, and they also got free coming new customers. And I had a discount card, which it enabled those consumers to go into those participating businesses and receive discounts. And they could take the same card and use it repeatedly in one business if they wanted to.
Froze up. I hope we didn't lose him.
And
we might have lost him, but
can y'all still hear me?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Yeah, but in any case, it was a win-win situation. The Black businesses, the consumers save money when they patronize Black businesses. The Black businesses got more customers, and I did all right because I was selling the cars. But the whole point of the whole thing was we have to identify who the we are. We have to know where and who we are. How can we support each other, even if we wanted to, if we don't know where we are? And since I did that back in the day, that process that I went through, this before computers, anybody had computers. I had to physically go out there to libraries, everything else to find out who and where, go through Black communities and knock on people's doors back in them days. But today I have a blueprint. But worked here in Maryland, worked in every state. I know where to go to the Black chambers of commerce, the Black what you call NBE directories, Black. It's a plethora of things that you can do to gather information. And you can go to my website, the National Black Portal, National Black Action Portal, which is nationwide organizations broke down to states. But this directory is the same concept. We even get free.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, our vice president got a comment for you, I believe. He's about to jump on right now.
Yeah, he can do so. Yes, sir.
Mr. David, how you doing? It's Kendrick Tillman.
Hey, sir, how you been? Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. I'll see you on Friday, I believe. I want to ask a question for the audience and really understand the business model. I just got off the beginning of the U.S. Black Chamber. They're having a Buy Black conference.
Mm-hmm.
And it's partnered with, I know you said it was 1% of media that we own, but it was 160 media organizations at this conference today. And the takeaway I want you to share that I want to commit to right now, at least the package that you're going to offer me on live on our broadcast, is how do organizations like BPM, my company, 5 Star Enterprise, or the nonprofit, the Be More STEM Foundation, Inc., what is the package that we need to commit to you, that we, what the annual fee or whatever monthly fee, or what is the commitment that we need, I need right now, so I can do that, because I want to just invest in you, because I need marketing. And you're right, we need to tell our story. We suck at telling our story, and I want us to increase that. But let's work on doing business together right now on the air. How what
Okay.
package can I commit to you?
Well, it's two things that we could do with help each other. First of all, the directory to identify who we are. We have a service in there was actually free, so there won't be no excuses, none whatsoever, so nobody not to participate. Free. But then we have a couple other packages where you get more services.
So is
It's,
that link in the chat? Is that link in the, is that something I can
no,
share right
yes, you
now?
can go to tnbun.com. That's the National Black Unity News in parentheses, tnbun.com. You can go on there. You can also find a directory on there. It's a link, but we have a separate website for the directory itself. It's tnbundirectory.com. And that way you can go sign up for the directory. Like I said, there's 3 different packs, free and 2 other paid services. Now, somebody like you, Kendrick, let me just say this to you, because you talked a few times, in the last couple of years. People like yourself, like the people on this call right now. See, Fran and Leroy McKenzie is already participating with us. What we do is have a unique way. We provide a whole page in the National Black Unity to you or your business. There's a certain, all we ask for you to do is help pay for the printing costs. We don't charge, it's not advertising. It's your page. You put what you want on, but we strongly suggest that you educate people about your business and service. Then you promote your business and service. You can put your own advertisement on your page. You could even take part of your page and help some other businesses out. They may want, like I said, because it's very, very economically sound the way we doing it. It's almost amazing, almost a giveaway. But you can put other people on. Actually, you can make money with us on your own page. But let me say this before I jump too far into that. I had to explain this to you. You just mentioned a large group of media. Well, there's over 200 black newspapers still here in the United States. And I love my black papers. It's history. I used to sell Afro when I was a little boy. But one thing they all have in common, they outprice their own community. The average black business cannot afford to advertise in the black newspaper because they model themselves after those. Like I said, since we in Baltimore, after the Sun paper. I'm gonna give you a prime example. If I want to put a quarter page ad in the Baltimore Times or the Afro, it may cost me $600, $700, almost up to $1,000 in some areas. And that advertisement is going to last for one day, one issue. And if you don't get your return, that's it. In comparison, the National Black Unity News runs you for 3 months. For a quarter page ad, we give you actually a full page ad for only $300. And the reason why we did it, we do it on purpose, not that we slacken ourselves. I understand that. I've been doing this for 40 something years. I know the cost of advertising. But when you do a co-op, when you're not just looking out for self, when you're really looking out for the masses of our people, this is I call it by divine inspiration. This is not about making money, it's about uplifting us. But nowhere, if you find something, let me know that you can get that much exposure, that much networking. And not only that, guess what else happened? I become your personal coach as well. I just throw myself in there as a bonus. I do professional commercials and a lot of everything else. I connect dots. I put people together. And so I just don't just put you in the paper and leave you alone. We work with you because your success is my success. But see, when we have success, our people win. And so nowhere.
So I'm sorry, sir. We are a little bit behind
Okay.
schedule.
All right, but call me at 443-455-2373. Again, 455-2373.
Are,
And you can get in touch. We can talk afterwards.
are you connected with IBA?
They connected with me. Yes.
Okay, so IBA is connected with you.
Yeah.
So Kendrick is connected with IBA.
Okay.
So that means Kendrick is connected with you as well, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, I guess so. Indirect matter of fact, I'm connected with all of you, whether you believe it or not.
I wanna commit to two different things. So one is a commitment from BPM that I'm a sponsor, and one is a commitment to our product Matthew Music that I need anyway. So that's two payments for $300, as you just said. They'll run for 3 months. That'll come from me. If you can tell me how to give that payment, please put that in the chat.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll talk, and like I said, it's more that there's more bonuses out there, but it's not like I said again. I appreciate you.
I just want to commit
up.
to that because I know we got to move forward, but I know that I've been wanting to do business with you for years, so I'm gonna commit to that. One for the nonprofit, and Black Professional Men, and one for Matthew Music.
And also, you are the you say you also the president of the Black Chambers of Commerce, right?
Correct.
I was the
founding
member of that as well. Okay. Yeah.
I'll get them to do that'll be three. So we'll
yeah, I'm just telling you something about history.
That's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother hat.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Now, we're going to jump real quick because I know we're way behind time. If Cornell can come and give us our fitness minute really quickly, then we're going to have Everett give us our mastermind homework. We'll do homework, and we want to close out with our president, Hassan Diggs. Okay. So Cornell, where you at?
Yeah. All right. I'll make it real quick. So in the theme of what we're talking about in the season, my fitness tip is hitting the gym is not that different than hitting the poles. So, and this is POLLS, so it's no confusion.
Make sure you clarify.
Yeah, I had to clarify that. So, basically, it can be overwhelming. We had Miss Fran talking earlier about, informing yourself and everything. But when a lot of people getting started, they have hesitations and fears, and they're uninformed and don't know which decision to make. And it's the same thing. So, you just want to kind of ground yourself, do your research. If you're looking for a class, all you got to do is go online, check the schedule. Same thing. If you want to see who's on the ballot, Google started something called Who's on the Ballot. She mentioned Ballotpedia. So that's pretty much it. You just got to start somewhere, and thinking about it is not enough to get it done. You got to actually take action. So that's my minute. Thank you, guys. Cornell Smith, I'm Fitness. I'm everywhere.
Thank you, Cornell.
Brother Everett. Thanks, sir. Brother Everett, where you at? Real quick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me put the question in the chat right here. Put it everywhere. All right, peace. Mastermind question. How can you, I'm going to stress you, Miss Fran, this is for you. That's not for me, for you exactly, but it's in honor of you because if you're the topic. Increase the voter turnout. I want everyone to just take a chance.
Can we have this topic be connected to a business though? That's the purpose of the mastermind. Can we say maybe?
Okay.
Can we pick? How does voting relates to the profitability of your business or something like that? Or
okay, I mean you can interrelate it to a business. That'd be good.
I'm kind of thinking too, as you're mentioning that maybe the same kind of thing you do to increase voter turnout is also customer acquisition.
Mm-hmm. The funnel.
I thought that would get a smile from the president.
So maybe possibly, and I'll be the first one to chime in on that. Maybe you could offer a special service for those who could prove that they already voted or have officially put their vote in, as far as a business goes.
So Blondie's is giving out free donuts to people who have voted on election day. Supposedly, that's
What's the location?
we're working on it. We're working on it. I know it's gonna be a place.
Yeah, because I want mine, because mine is already in. Let me know. Because I'm already present and accounted for. I done sent my mail-in ballot already in. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. Because I think that it is, and here's the thing that we can do with the mastermind. I think part of what we can kind of connect. I think people have to, the entrepreneurs and business owners that we have in Black Professional Men, I want you to think about how your business is impacted by the elected officials that we have here in whether it's Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and the effect that that will have moving forward. It is like everyone was saying that you have to do your homework to understand where these officials stand in certain things because it's going to impact your business and how you're able to conduct business and do business moving forward. So you want to do your homework and research that way. With if you want to connect it with Miss Fran, she's there to be able to assist individuals and organizations to be able to understand what they need to do in order to be able to be I guess what do you say what's the word I'm looking for, compliant, be compliant with what they need to do with the with the things that they need to do with their particular organization and everything like that. So that's where I think the tie comes in with her company, Successful Development. Am I right, Miss Fran?
Well, you're close.
Oh,
Let me give
okay.
you that. You're close. Um, in self development success, I used to do a lot of business coaching, but you can coach, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. So I stopped doing the coaching and I started doing more of a motivational piece. So, I can give people ideas and I can motivate you and inspire you, encourage you and all those things. But at the end of the day, if you don't take the time to make a plan and then really focus yourself on how you achieve the plan that you set out to achieve, nothing that I say or do is really going to help you because you got to put some skin in the game. But that is what I do. And then I use the books that I have to create income streams. I do electronic fundraisers with them. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Did I
I didn't.
interrupt?
Yeah, I don't, somebody started to say something, but I didn't hear what they
Yeah.
said out of my
At any rate, I use the books that I've written, the ebooks generally, and do ebook fundraisers so that I can create income streams for nonprofit organizations, community-based programs, and individual development projects as well. And we promote the books through Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever platforms that you have available to yourself. And we push it out there and see how many sales that we can push. And whatever books are sold, 50% of the sale that is collected for the sale of the books is given back to the nonprofit organization, community-based program, or individual project. So I didn't write the book so that I could go to the bank. I wrote the book so that I could create an avenue to draw funding to some really important projects going on in the community, doing some heavy lifting, who couldn't get funding from other places. It's not a traditional way to make money, but it is a way to make money if you're willing to do some of the work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, anything else that we need to for our homework? Do we Cornell asked, do we submit, where do we submit our homework? Do we submit it to Facebook?
Yeah, you put it on your Facebook page and share it because we need everyone, lottie dottie, everybody to come out and vote and exercise that right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. We done kept y'all long enough, so we got one more. We're gonna bring up Mr. President so he can close us out, talk to us just for a couple of minutes, and let us know what's going on with BPM, and then we're gonna be out of here. So we appreciate you all's patience and being with us tonight. I know we've run over a little bit. Mr. President, come on up.
Can
All
I
right.
interrupt and just say my 2 cents on that one piece about voting? Since Black professional men, the organization, are members of the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce, we had a conversation in our legislative committee about importance of voting. And I think a
Mm,
part of that homework is knowing who represents you, where your business address is, and knowing who represents you, where your resident, where you live. At least know one of the things I got from the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce conference today was you can stop asking for checks and asking for anything until you have been an advocate and your voice has been heard. And so, if your voice hasn't been heard, you are not voting, or you are not even knowing who your vote counts for. Because now you have power in Annapolis, you have power in DC, you have power from our local legislators. So it starts every in all three levels. Please don't just think it's the president. We talking right at city council, we talking right at Annapolis, and we talking right there in DC, which is around the corner from where the organization has been created. So I just had to say that 2 cents before our president closes out, because advocacy is how your voice is being heard. And if you're not voting, you're not even at the table. And if you're not at the table, you're on the menu.
yep.
And with that, I'll digress.
Thank you.
Perfectly said.
One of the things that I would like for people to really understand about Black professional men is the opportunity to experience. And when I first came to Black professional men, one of the main things that was taught was get involved in the legislation as it relates to your business. And I share this now as an example for two examples. So my wife and I bought property in Virginia. So the first thing we did was we went down to the county and build a relationship with the economic development department for that particular county and share with them what we wanted to be able to do. So we now gained an ally with the strategy that we wanted to be able to do. Okay. And that turned out to be a very beneficial move for what we're doing down there. Now, everybody know or may know that my wife is about to get a food truck. Now, a lot of people don't know there's a lot of regulations of what food trucks can and can't do, where they can park and where they cannot park. And a lot of that legislation has been relaxed because of COVID. But I bring that up is that if I didn't know to go look for that, I wouldn't know that. And a lot of us have businesses and we don't know what legislation is impacting our business because we just think that, you know, it doesn't matter. But it does matter. So, you know, if so you no matter what your business is, find out what legislation is there that can help or hurt your business. All right. So we had a conversation earlier in this meeting talking about how fast money leaves our community. So one of the exciting meetings that we had earlier today to kind of connect everything together is we connected with a Black business called Black and Mobile. Black and Mobile is a food eatery business. Black and Mobile is equivalent to Uber Eats and equivalent to DoorDash. There's a slight bit of difference between the three, is that Uber Eats charges you about 33% for a small business to have your food delivered. DoorDash charges about 34%. Plus, you have to purchase a tablet. Black and Mobile only charges you 20%. So not only do you get a cheaper cost, you get the service from you get the service from a Black owned business. Now, with all of those businesses, they all provide you customers the exact same way through their marketing, through their platform. So it's nothing different that you're going to do as a restaurant owner going through one or the other. And you can have Black and Mobile and still have Uber Eats and still have DoorDash. So you don't have to be exclusive. We're just actually to be inclusive. So with that, now what we're going to do is we're going to be able to connect Black and Mobile to a lot of our partners and other Black owned restaurants so that they can offer delivering their services. Now, Black and Mobile, please make no mistake, their business model is to deliver products from Black owned restaurants to consumers. Now, as we talked about it today, it doesn't matter what kind of consumer it is, as long as their money gets into our pipeline. So if you look at that, that's two. That's two. I want y'all to count that. That's two. So when you order from Black and Mobile, you're going to give money to Black and Mobile. Black and Mobile is going to be able to connect that money to a restaurant. So now that's being recycled twice. Okay. Now what Black Professional Men is going to do is there's 3 days a week we're going to start with doing a marketing campaign to encourage Black consumers to use these products. One is going to be Tuesdays. Tuesdays is going to be Eat Black Baltimore Day, which means that every Tuesday we're going to highlight all the businesses that you can go to and get this particular service delivered to you. Okay. The next one is going to be Friday and Saturday for a Black restaurateur, which we all know that a lot of those are the days where people don't want to cook. So why not have a Black restaurateur where we will still have businesses highlighted on these particular days. Now, we're bringing in another partner called Recognize Black. Recognize Black is a video directory that will highlight businesses on these days. So this is number 3. If you order through the Black-owned food delivery service, they're going to go to the restaurant. That restaurant is getting customers, so now they're getting revenue, which they're now able to use the profits from that revenue to use a Black marketing company to market their business. So that's 3. Okay. The second layer to this is once we are able to get consumers using the services of these Black businesses, and these Black businesses are getting the revenue that they need, that they no longer need loans or anything to sustain themselves, we're able to have them use Black services like toilet paper. We have a partner, a Black business that supplies toilet paper and other toiletries and regular everyday items that restaurants all use. They're able to have that money be there. So that's number 4. So right there, just by everybody doing what they already do, just doing it slightly different. So ordering their food, instead of using Uber Eats, using Black and Mobile, they're able to get business to a Black restaurant. That Black restaurant is able to gain revenue to increase the amount of employees they're able to keep and retain, and they're able to order products from a Black-owned, other Black-owned businesses, so that their business can function. So that is one of the initiatives that we're working on. Turn the page. We just got notification that we got accepted to be able to provide the second year of our youth photography program. So we're going to be able to train, I believe it's 10 to 20 youth with photography, but we're also going to be able to add liberal arts to it. Now, what does this mean? This means that for the youth that have some kind of drama or mental impact to them, they're going to be able to use liberal arts to communicate and express their feelings, and hopefully be able to use that as a release so that they can kind of get those things off of your chest. So as Black men, I don't have to tell you that you probably remember things that happened to you when you were 7 years old. Like me and my brother had a conversation because he cheated me on my GI Joe when I was 11, but playing tunk, so that's why I don't gamble no more. But um, this is a way to be able to help our youth be able to start that process of learning how to conquer those mental challenges, those mental health challenges. With the photography business, the photography program, what we're going to do is it's a 20-week program, and we're going to be able to have the youth learn how to use photography. And at the end, we're going to have a virtual book of their work that we can share with the community. So it's going to, their pictures are going to be about a food service provider that gives away food. And their pictures are going to kind of support that particular organization. But each page is going to highlight the vision of that child's as they through the photography that they learn through the course of the program. Now, we also are going to be able to launch our new website. I believe it's going to be ready next month. Now, next month in November, we will be participating in the initiative to make Black Friday Black. The goal with that is to help Black businesses get $1 million of revenue from their products and services. So we will be encouraging all consumers to be supporting Black businesses. And to be able to do this, we're going to be working with Black businesses to make sure they're able to handle the rush. It is definitely one thing to say, hey, if I had $1 million customers, I would be all right. It's another thing to get those 1 million customers and have to deliver. So what Black Professional Men is doing through our toolkit initiative is being able to provide our members and partners with the necessary tools that allow them to do more with less. Now, when we talk about doing more with less, everybody knows you can send an email. Everybody knows that you can have a form to collect information. Everybody knows that you can put information on social media, okay? But everybody knows everybody doesn't always have time to do all of those things when they need to have it done. And this is the solution of the toolkit and why it's so critical, because we have created a solution that allows you to inherit these benefits for a fraction of the cost. So if you look at a timeshare, and the timeshare is that you have a building or you have a house and you get to share that with other people and you pay a fair share, but you only get to use it when you need it. These business services function in the exact same capacity. So if you have an email service and you don't send emails every day, you don't send emails every month, but you need to be able to send the emails to the masses of people when you need to be able to do it, this is for you. If you need to have your information put on social media, you don't have the time to do it, you don't know what kind of content you need to do it, this is the service for you. And again, this is not something that we are selling. This is something that we are offering, and we're just making it that the cost is cut so you don't have to pay the full price. Now, if you go to Constant Contact and you have over 5,000 emails, you know you're paying about $95 to $125 for that. You know, if you go to Hootsuite and you go and do scheduling, you know you're paying about $29 for that. You know, if you go do SurveyMonkey and you get the premium forms, you know you're paying about $300 for that. You know, if you get to a virtual assistant, you're going to have to pay them at least $15 to $25 an hour, and you're going to need to have a minimum of at least 10 to 20 hours a month to be able to keep them busy. We know all of that. And if you was to calculate with all of that cost and say, if I could pay a fraction of that and get that when I need it, then this is the service for you. So the next thing that we are also being able to do, which I am excited about, is our BPM rewards card. This has been an initiative that we have been working on for literally years. Now, what we're going to be able to do is quite simple. When you support your community, then you're able to get something from your community. Now, these cards are reward cards, so you can either purchase them from one of our partnering schools that they will be able to use this to fund their programs at their schools, or you can purchase this card from one of our members, or you can gain a card by doing so much community service. Now, we have an app called Helper Helper that you're able to track how much community service you do. But you can either do it through sweat equity, or you can do it by just supporting our scholarship program or one of our partners that are using this card to fund their programs. So how all of this plugs in is that when you go to Black and Mobile and you have a card, you get a discount. It's just that simple. So it comes right back to the beginning. If you support your community by getting this card and helping kids get programs for schools, get school supplies for schools, have the teachers not have to dig into their own pocket to get their school supplies for their kids, then you're able to take that card and get a discount when you get something to eat from a Black food delivery driver who's going to take it, deliver the food to you from a Black owned restaurant. And by doing that, you're giving that Black owned restaurant revenue so they can hire more employees and be able to use more services from Black owned businesses. That is my presentation. I definitely appreciate everybody's time. Do we have any questions?
No questions. I think that's phenomenal. And I
I
see.
think that service is going to be great. What we're going to offer in the future, definitely.
Yeah, I see big things for
I just
2021, moving into 2021. This is, finishing out 2020, we're moving into 2020. Those are some exciting things, and that shows you the power of your network, and the power of the I think I call it the ecosystem that BPM is creating. So I think that's phenomenal. Anybody else?
sign me up. Sign me up.
Yeah. This is what we need.
Wait a minute, I'm already signed up, ain't I?
Yeah, you already said.
All right. Well, we're not gonna hold anybody any longer. Once again, we thank everybody for hanging in there with us. This was a good meeting, despite the beginning with the technical difficulty that we had. But we appreciate everybody's time. We will be here next month, same Wednesday, second Wednesday of November, and we will 6 o'clock, 6 to 8 p.m. And we appreciate all of our speakers that came tonight, spoke tonight. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we want to continue the relationship that we have with you, because, as I say, relationship of resources. So we appreciate everybody for coming in. And if we have nothing else from Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, we're going to say good evening to everybody.
Good evening.
Good night.
All right, good night.
Good night.